Alright guys, this here is my Amazon pit bike I bought for about 1,200 bucks on Amazon. It was shipped right to my door and we assembled the thing, and it's actually a pretty decent dirt bike. But I ended up blowing the old motor on this thing. So in the last episode we installed a new motor, and we're going to be doing a lot of tests this Amazon pit bike. The reason I bought it is because I want to see if you can spend way less on buying a cheaper dirt bike instead of like a name brand Honda, Kawasaki, or Yamaha. I wanted to see if you could buy a cheap one and still have just as much fun with it. So far the answer is yes, but we're going to do some more upgrades to this thing to make it even more fun, sound better, and perform better. So I actually picked up this CDI box off of eBay for about 22 bucks, and it basically makes it so you can have an adjustable rev limiter. If you don't know what a rev limiter is, it's basically when you floor a motor and it hits that, like, it sounds like it's just cutting spark, which is what it's actually doing. It basically limits the motor from revving too high and causing the motor to have damage. And basically with that CDI box, I can make the rev limiter 4,000 RPM, or I can make it 12,000 RPM, which we're not going to go up to 12,000 because that will literally explode this motor. But we are going to probably go up to 9,000 RPM. We're going to test all of the modes on the rev limiter and see how they all sound. And then we'll also have different performance curves, which basically can give it more torque off the start or more top speed. So we're going to be testing all of the modes on that CDI box. And then for absolutely no reason, I bought a gold Temu exhaust. I don't know why, but we're going to throw that on this thing. We're going to see which one sounds better, the stock muffler or the Temu gold and black muffler. And then we're probably just going to go ride around and have some fun with this thing and do some other random stuff around the property. So this here's the stock CDI box that actually came with this motor. This literally plugs right into this, and that's what makes the motor run basically. And you might notice I have two different CDI boxes. This is the first one I bought. As you can see, these are all the different modes. You can do different switches up and down for different rev limiters and different performance curves. But there's a 4-pin plug and a 2-pin plug. This is the first one I bought because I thought I had a 4-pin plug, but I actually have a 5-pin plug with a 6-pin header. So I ended up buying another one off of eBay with a 5-pin, 6-pin setup right here. So this one does actually work. I'm going to show you guys a little card that it came with that tells me the different combinations for different limiters. And then another cool thing is this light starts flashing when you hit limiter. So I can run this light up to like the handlebars and it'll be like a rev limiter shift light that some race cars have. That would be pretty cool for a different video. But basically all we do to install this is we're going to grab this plug like I said and literally just clip the two together. That's all we have to do. You unplug the old one, clip on the new one, and then you have an adjustable rev limiter. Just going to click those two together. And then I would hide the CDI box up where it should be, but we need to get to this switch for different combinations. So I'm going to zip tie it just right here so we can still access all the switches, but it'll be out of the way of most things. All right, we're going to mount this right here. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. All right, I'm going to get this tightened down just like that. I found the zip tie on the ground. We're just going to mount it to the frame. I'm going to tighten it right here, and then we'll start testing the modes. All right, we got it tied down for the most part. It shouldn't be going anywhere. This is that card that I was talking about. So as you can see, if we turn on number 4, so if I slide number 4 up, it'll have a rev limiter at 4,000 RPM. I don't know if you guys can read that. And then if I turn number 1 and number 4 on, it'll have an RPM limit of 6,000. If I turn number 2 and number 4 on, it'll go up to 7,000. And it keeps just going up all the way to 12,000 RPM. And then if I adjust numbers 1, 2, and 3 and move the position 4 up, it'll change the ignition curve for different performance. So I can have advanced timing for more torque or instant torque or different top end power. I don't know if we're going to mess with any of that because I like the way it is right now. But we're definitely going to test out the RPM modes. Keep in mind, this is an Amazon 125cc motor. So we're going to rev it out at max 9,000 RPM. 9,000 RPM will be a lot for this motor, which is why we're maxing out at there. I can go to 12,000, but this motor will not handle that. So I'm going to research real quick actually how high we can rev this because I think we're going to go to max 9,000. This is exactly where I just estimated 9,000 to 9,500. So we'll just stop at 9,000 RPM. So this right here is the gold Temu exhaust I ordered. It's like die-cast metal, and I don't know why I got it. Basically, it's gonna fit right there. It might look better, it might not, I don't know. But I really just wanna see if it'll sound better, because it doesn't sound horrible right now, but it doesn't sound good. And this also came with a header. A header is what starts right here and goes around back here, but it's chrome. And there's no difference in the header. It has the same everything, so we're gonna keep this header on it and just change the muffler. But I'm gonna pull this thing outside, get my helmet on, and we're gonna test all these rev limiters. All right, I've got my helmet on. We're gonna fire this thing up, let it idle for a minute, and then we're gonna start at the lowest RPM all the way up to 9,000. Keep in mind, we are gaining so much performance for just 22 bucks off of eBay. And these CDI boxes are the most universal CDI boxes you can buy. So basically, if you buy the both, they are guaranteed to fit basically everything you own. Like I could plug this into my mini Jeep go-kart, I could plug this into my Honda 110, I can plug this into a lot of things, but the reason we're testing it on this is because I don't know if it'll damage anything. But I'm gonna get this thing fired up and warming up, and then we'll see how this thing will sound. All right, so right now there is no mode on this, so basically this motor is gonna rev a lot. It won't hit limiter right now. See how there's no rev limiter? It's because none of these switches are up. So if I go to switch number 4 on, which is the lowest RPM limit, it'll do this. So this is 4,000 RPM, rev limiter. Now we're going to switch number 1 and number 4 up, and now we're gonna jump to 6,000 RPM. That sounds pretty good, but it's still a pretty low RPM limiter. All right, now we're going to switch number 2 up and number 4. And now this is a 8,000 RPM rev limiter. All right, that's a really high rev limiter. We're gonna go up one more to 9,000 and see what it does. This is 9,000 RPM. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Holy. So that was the max this thing's gonna rev. That did not sound good. So the max we're gonna go to is 8,000 actually, which again sounds like this. Which sounds pretty good. All right, we're gonna pull this thing inside, swap our new exhaust muffler onto this thing and see how it sounds. All right, the first step is to just take this old one off. We're just gonna spin it off. Let's see if we can get this off without tools. There we go. This is the old muffler. And this is the new muffler, so a little comparison here. Again, I didn't get the gold because I think it was cool. I just got the gold because it makes it look more Temu. Now, the only issue with this exhaust is it doesn't fit through this clamp. So we're gonna get tools and remove this clamp, or we could just try to bend it up actually. Just like that. Yeah, now we can mount this thing up just fine. Now I'm gonna go run to my dad's shop and find a screw that fits this so we can properly mount it and screw it onto this muffler here. All right, new exhaust is mounted. It kind of looks better, but it kind of doesn't. Mixed feelings about it. But we're gonna fire it up and see how it sounds. Oh, it's actually way quieter. All right, well that's 4,000 RPM. All right, 6,000 RPM. All right, this is the highest we're going. That exhaust, the other one definitely sounded better. We're gonna throw that one back on. This one's too quiet and silenced, I feel like. All right, now we'll install this one. I think this one definitely sounded and looked better. All right, we got the old exhaust on. Now we're gonna go ride this thing around and ride it on every single limiter mode. So we're gonna start off at 4,000 RPM, ride it around, 6,000, 7,000, up to 8,000 RPM. All right, we're gonna start at 4,000 RPM. All right, here we go. Oh wow, it's like not, I can barely drive fast. Why can I floor it? Yeah, I can barely drive without hitting limiter. Alright, we'll adjust it to 6,000 now. Alright, 6,000 RPM. I still can barely drive fast. Yeah, we gotta turn it up even more. I can still barely drive. Alright, I believe this is either 7,000 or 8,000. Man, it's still not really drivable. It just hits limiter. I guess we gotta turn it up even more. Alright, here we go. This is 9,000 RPM. I don't like this limiter, but it's the only way to make this thing rideable. Alright, I turned it back down to 8,000. 9,000 is too high. Well guys, I just rode around the 150 for a while and it still has some carburetor issues because the carburetor is from Amazon, but it is running 1,000 times better. It idles way better. It actually fires up first kick almost every single time, and it just overall runs and sounds way better. And then also the Amazon bike is also really fun now that I can tune it up and do different performance curves and rev limiters and stuff. But I think that's gonna do it for today's episode, but don't forget to stay tuned because we are fully building my shed. We're going to be fully rebuilding my dad's four-wheeler, my new dirt bike, and a few other bikes, and doing a few things to our dirt bike track. Also, stay tuned for all that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what you guys want to see me do on this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.